Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I am excited to welcome you to the first Youth Veterinarian Initiative, YVI session of 2022. And excuse me, I am very excited because today our special guest is my dear friend and colleague, Sherita Herring Oglesby, who is coming to us from her property in Hattieville, Arkansas. Her property is called Oglesby Acres, and she is going to be sharing with us today just everything that she's doing at Oglesby Acres with regard to her chickens, et cetera. And she's going to be sharing about the Youth Veterinarian Initiative Summer Camp that we're going to be holding later this year. So let me give Sherita a proper introduction. Upon leaving her office in Beverly Hills, California 4 years ago, Sherita made a 360-degree change to a calmer and more country life on 30 acres of family property, which I just said is called Oglesby Acres in Hattieville, Arkansas. And at Oglesby Acres, Sherita has surrounded herself with what she calls her Barnyard crew of 6 dogs, 32 chickens, 2 ducks, 3 guinea fowl, and 2 cats. And these animals have amusing names like Boots, Erica Badu, the Lone Ranger, Meryl Streep, Helen Mirren, Morgan Freeman, Fred Sanford, Eartha Kitt, Hallie Kitty, Betty White, Viola Davis, Lady Beth, and others. And this whole crew of animals is led by Sherita's lovely little dog named Joy. And if you've been on calls in the past, you've probably seen Joy running around in the yard. So Sherita is also in the process of writing a children's book based on the antics of the Barnyard crew. And she's writing about this 360-degree life change that has brought her to Arkansas and to Oglesby Acres. And her book is going to be called From Beverly Hills to Barnyard. So without further ado, let me give the mic over to Sherita. Take it away, my dear.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be presenting here today. It was strange because, this is about veterinarian and all of that, but it's also about animals. And so who better to talk about some other animals than me, right? So I'm really excited about that. And speaking of Joy, Mommy, you gonna say hello? Come here. She's just laying here right now. She's
okay.
Look. So, but I'm real excited. Of course, like I was sharing with you earlier, there were some things that I really wanted to share today. I really wanted to be out in the open air, but right now it's freezing, and we're going to be getting freezing sleet, rain, which is sleet, here in about an hour or shorter. And so our animals, like most people, don't want to be out in the cold. So I'm trying something different, and hopefully I've got this stuff lined up so that it's in order for me to just share my screen and talk as I go, but also and answer any questions. So I'm going to share. You see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Great. So let's just start moving because I got a lot to talk about. Mm-hmm. And first, I just want to talk about, again, my life from Beverly Hills to Barnyard. And where I am right now in the Barnyard, I came here often as a young girl because I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and my grandmother and her 13 siblings were born here on this land. And I've truly always loved country. It's just most people didn't know it. When we start out in our careers, Monique and Danielle, we always start doing things of what people expect of us, what's hot right now in the industry, so I learned computers, started working for Sprint as a young mom, I'm fast forwarding. But every chance I could get, like my boys, we always had animals. My oldest son had from a iguana to python snakes. We had dogs, we've had mice. So I've always been someone to love animals, and that passed on to my boys. Well, with that, when I moved from Kansas City to California back in 1988, took my young sons and a single mom, started my career there. In that career, and I'm showing you then and now, I had no idea that from me starting to work in the industry, and then I had a passion still for people, the nonprofit arena, animals, and what better way to do that than I became a director at a YMCA. And through that YMCA, that's when I started learning about camping services. We still had animals around because we would take our kids on field trips. And it was feeding my soul in a way, ladies, that I didn't even know that what it was going to turn into in my later years. So a little bit about my Hollywood career before I start going on further into about my animals and how I ended up here. Being in Hollywood, ladies, I'm really excited about the people I met. Now our young kids may not know a lot of these people, but from the George Jeffersons up here at the top right, to Billy D. Williams, to Kim Coles, the comedian, Frida Payne, a lot of people here, the gentleman in the purple vest, which is Keith David. He is the voice of so many. He's been the voice of Mustafa for Lion King. I forget the bad guy's name in what was the Disney, The Princess and the Frog. Kim Coles here and her crew from the older show in the 80s, Living Single. Comedians. A lot of people might remember, us older may remember Tommy from Martin, to even down here, Berry Gordy with Motown, and just so on and so forth. So there's a lot of people that I worked with that helped my career, that helped me to learn to do the things that I've done. Even professional athletes like over here on the far left, NFL great Jim Brown, who I helped to coach him with his nonprofit, which is called American. And that's where he's been working with gang members. From his program has not only taught individuals how to read, but also helping them to go into entrepreneurship and so much more. Many people might remember the Whispers. There's so many celebrities and athletes that want to go into the nonprofit arena, which is where my career has mostly leaned, showing people how to take what they do in their professional career, in their for-profit arena, and how do they use their social entrepreneurial objectives, meaning they want to do more to impact lives, to make a difference. And that's how I ended up meeting most of who you see here, because they have that interest in making a difference in people's lives besides just in what they do in their career. And so the Whispers, that's Scotty and his brother there. A lot of people have seen Blackish with Anthony Anderson. And Anthony Anderson has had dealing with diabetes. And that's why a lot of people probably remember him as a heavier Anthony Anderson, but now he's lost a lot of weight and he wants to help coach kids, and also especially those in the African-American community, how to eat better and to maintain as far as if they are dealing with diabetes. And then, there's Bill Duke, who is a movie producer, and just so on and so forth. I've got a few others, but I'm showing this because a lot of people say, well, Sherita, why did you leave Los Angeles and California, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, and all those stars to go to a town called Hattieville? And why? Well, ladies, even in what I was doing in my career, I would travel often too. I was also helping a client up in Northern California, and she had a ranch that she didn't know she could have a nonprofit. She didn't know that she could get grants to benefit what she was doing on her land. And so I would travel up there and I would stay for a month, sometimes 2 months, because the country life feeds my soul. And I made a post on Facebook while I was up there. I was helping her develop a program called Stargazers. And in the Stargazers program, we were bringing youth there to let them see the stars that they're missing because of light pollution in the cities. See, there's a lot of even adults that have traveled here to Oglesby Acres. They look up and they're like, wow, I can't believe all these stars. Well, when we're living in cities and towns with a lot of street lights and all of that, we don't realize what we're missing just if we could look up. And those are things that we're going to also be exposing our young people to, Monique, when we talk about bringing them here to Oglesby Acres for our YVI camp. There's games that we're going to play, because you can look up at the constellations and see the stars. And it's unbelievable how once you are playing these games, you can see why they came up with the zodiac signs like Taurus and Pisces and Scorpio. You can literally see the formations of those zodiac signs in the stars. So we'll be doing that. So I made that post when I was up, I made a post when I was up at Veronica's ranch saying, these are the stars that I want to see. Not that I have something against the stars that really helped my career, but I made that post saying, but these are the stars that we're missing. These are the stars that I love, versus walking and seeing the stars that are on the ground there in Hollywood. So again, my inner soul has always been craving where I am now. And that's what I'm going to talk a lot about today, because our young people, a lot of times they're jumping on the bandwagon of what is hot in the industry, whether it's video games or being a tech, going into Bitcoin or whatever. And I'm not saying that there's not anything wrong with that. What I'm saying is there may be some youth that just want to deal with animals, that just want to come and be in the country. Whatever it is that feeds your soul, I want to talk about doing that today and the fun that can happen with that. And with that, I mean, I'm a preacher's kid. I can't help but say with faith comes finance. So if you're looking to make money, if God gave you something deep in your soul, there's no way he would have given that to you and you can't survive off of it. So let's go from these stars. Oh, one more that I've got to talk about, who we just lost on Friday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh my God.
It's Sidney Poitier. Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
I met him in 1988. This picture is actually in the summer of 1988. I love him. I'd always loved him as a young girl. And sitting there with him, I was so in awe that I almost couldn't conduct my interview of what I was doing and why he was wanting to do more to and talk about civil rights and empowering our African-American people. And he had been an advocate for civil rights all through the 50s, 60s. As many people know, he was the first Black man to receive an Oscar. And Denzel Washington, even when he got his Oscar, joked about, I was following your footsteps. And in that same day that he got his, they gave Sidney Poitier another Oscar. He's like, man, I'm still running after you. But he's just an amazing soul. And so I wanted to end talking about the celebrities with this legend that we just lost on Friday. And I love him dearly. And he had a great impact, not only on my life, but people all over the world. So now fantastic. My life has made a drastic change. And I am loving being this country girl and all these animals and all of that. So I want to talk about that now and let you meet some of the Barnyard crew. And I just one day I came up with calling them the Barnyard crew because they're fun to talk to. Monique, and you've heard me say this, I had no idea that I'd become a chicken lady. Ladies, I literally talk to them and they talk back, and and we have conversations. It's crazy. And so, but sometimes as we make changes, we must believe. You've got to believe in your vision. We got to believe in our vision, even if no one else can see it. Okay. And that's the wrong no. It should be N-O,
Yes.
So, but when we pulled up on the land, this is what we saw. And our land had been sitting vacant since 1975. My great-grandfather passed away, and of course, all of his 14 kids had moved away. Some of them were still here in Arkansas. Some have moved, like my grandmother moved to Kansas City and had my mom and her 4 sisters. And but I pulled up, and this magnificent building and just gentle giant tree, this oak tree, is what I saw, and I have built my dream around it. Even our logo has this tree and this barn in it, because I was afraid that we might lose both of them. For one, the tree has a huge hollowness on the back side of it. I think it was struck by lightning and then over the years, and so we may have to either trim the branches back, or one tree specialist keeps telling me we're going to have to cut it down. And I hope that we won't, because can you imagine? I mean, my grandfather built this barn like in 1905 This tree is almost 300 years old. I mean, over 200 years old. Can you imagine the stories that have been told under this tree? My grandmother swung on a tire with a chain on this tree. Her 13 brothers and sisters, they all in family have sat under this tree and drank lemonade and tea and laughed and cried. And, you know, this tree is part of my family history. So I don't want to let it go. But again, we put up on this land. Of course, my husband doesn't see the vision. He's thinking we're going to have to tear this barn down. I'm like, oh, no way. So I'm looking at this barn, wondering what I'm going to do with it. We kind of, now you see that we had to start pulling some of the walls away. And as you can see here, there's no branches there's no structure holding this up. The roof is eaten away. You know, there's a lot of things, but I wanted to keep it as original as possible. So I didn't want to tear the roof off and repair it. As far as the structuring and the beams that were missing, I prayed, I said, Ray, please, let's just try and find trees that can match these that are here, and let's replace them with that. So that's what he started doing. You see here, he found some tree branches and he kind of shored it up for me. And of course, anytime that you have a dream or a vision, you've got to be willing to put in the work. So I put in the work. We put in a lot of work. And this is the end result. And this is now my she shed. It is our nursery. And so to achieve your dreams, you've got to put in the work. And instead of redoing that roof and repairing it with new things, no, I wanted to preserve the character. And I wanted to show that even with my great-grandfather's work, this barn has stood the test of time. I want to show the holiness of it. I want to show the character of it. And what I'm saying, as you young people, when you listen to this, believe in your dream, believe in your vision, and everything doesn't have to be brand new. You don't have to wear the best of what other kids are wearing. You don't have to worry about that you prefer Vans and other kids are wearing the hottest tennis shoe that costs $300 or $400. Be unique. Be who you want to be, because as long as you are doing that and doing it from what's coming from inside of you, believe me, the rewards that will come will be unforgettable, and doors will open in ways that you had no idea. Okay, so as I go forward now, Monique and Danielle, if you got any questions or comments or whatever, I can stop anytime.
Okay.
So
keep going for now. This is great.
Okay. Well, good. So let me move this down. So now my little menus are all in the way. Because of my life in California, I think that's why my Barnyard crew has taken on Hollywood names, you know, because those are the names that I've been surrounded around or I've watched on television. And something about being in California, when I came here, maybe I just couldn't let some of California go. So I want to introduce you more to my Barnyard crew. So my girls, my two cats, are named after the two Black women that influenced me as far as watching Catwoman. So on Batman, so Eartha Cat is my Black kitty, and then there's Halle Kitty that's named after Halle Berry, and there are two felines that are here on Oglesby Acres. Then we've got Fred Sanford. I was always a Fred Sanford fan. Off of, with Fred Sanford and his old junkyard. But can you see why I named this rooster Fred Sanford?
He looks old and ornery.
Yeah, and his bottom, that furriness looks like Fred's beard, you know? And so when I'm naming the Barnyard crew, either it's because they remind me of someone because they look like them, or something about them looks like that one, or their personality reminds me of someone, or like with Betty White. My white Silky, she's white and grayish, and she always reminded me of Betty White. And so, and even when you look at Betty White's nose, when you look at my little Betty White, doesn't her nose remind you of Betty White? You know, and so there's always a reason why I've named them that way. But also, I want you to meet my 4-leg fur babies. And these are now, there's two that are missing, but these are my red bone coon dogs. And Hannah is the one on the left, that's the mama. and the other 3 are her babies. This one right here where my mouse is circling, that's Heifer. There's a story to tell you about Heifer. And then right here is Rufus. And Rufus is named after my dad. My dad's name was Rufus. And this is Socks. And the reason why I call her Socks, she's the only one that had 4 white feet that looked like she kind of had on. Now, Heifer, back to this name. Well, first, before I go there, let me tell you the story about Hannah, the mama. Ray and I, when we were headed up here to the land, it was before we moved here, and it was when you saw that barn looking the way it was. Well, when we were headed up here, Ray was saying, you know what, we're going to need to get a dog. You know, we need a big outdoor dog. And you guys, the very first day that we're here and we're doing the digging, getting ready to install our electrical pole, this beautiful red bone coon dog comes up on the land. But we could tell she had just had puppies. You know, she was hanging underneath, and that's where you see her little milk feeders right there under her. And you could tell she had just had puppies. And so we're thinking, okay, where's her puppies and whose dog is she? So we're asking around to neighbors, did anyone know whose dog it was? Yada, yada. And no one knew whose dog it was. So we took her on. And after we had her here on the land for about a week, maybe 10 days, here she comes, and she's a wanderer in the woods. You can tell that, you know, she had been living in the woods. Here she comes up on the land, you guys, with 8 puppies. So now we take on these puppies. I'm calling to find out what we can do with these puppies. I'm calling animal control and all of that. Well, here in the country, the animal control was already full. So I developed a relationship with our KC, pet rescue. And she was saying, well, if we wanted to give them away, she would give us a voucher. And anyone that took a puppy also could get a voucher for shots and a voucher for spay or neuter. So we ended up getting rid of, I'm forgetting something. After we've been feeding these puppies now for about a week, now we're out there feeding, and Ray says, Sherita, count the puppies. And I said, count them? He said, yeah, just count them. I want to make sure I'm not making a mistake. Now, remember, I told you she strolled up with 8 puppies. I started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? I count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was 9 puppies. One of them, I guess, was in the woods, had been strolled up. That ended up being Rufus, who you see right here. So now we got 9 puppies, and we have Hannah. And at that time, we also had 2 dogs that we keep on the inside, which is my precious Joy, the supervisor, and our handsome Harley, which was a beautiful black and white Cocker Spaniel. And the reason why I say is last year during deer hunting season, someone stole Harley. And so we missed him drastically. But that's the story about them. Now, so we ended up getting rid of, we wanted to keep 3 puppies. We wanted to keep 2. We wanted to keep Socks, who you see here. We wanted to keep Rufus, and, we were going to keep their mama. So we were going to have 3 outdoor dogs. Well, this one, who earned her name Heifer, we were able to catch all the puppies and put them in the kennel on the back of the truck, except this one. And every time I kept trying to catch her, we were trying to wrangle her with a rope. We tried, roping her like we were cowboys, going to rope her, We couldn't catch her. And I kept saying, no, I can't catch this Heifer. I can't catch this Heifer. Well, that's why her name is Heifer. So that's, you've met, so now that you've met some of the Barnyard crew, I want to talk about one of the main products that we're producing here on the land,
well,
and that
Sherita,
is our.
Wait, before you go on to the eggs, you said that you got rid of, quote unquote, several of the puppies. So are you going to tell that story?
Yes. Oh, we ended up going to Home Depot. Oh, I wish I would have showed the pictures of that. We ended up going to Home Depot, and in doing that, because we had the vouchers, you guys, we got rid of those puppies in less than an hour. All of those puppies were gone. And so we ended up only keeping, they were given away. They were given away. And I'm trying to see if I can find something real quick. And so in doing, and in giving them away, let me see if I can find it. In giving them away, we also gave them a certificate for them to contact the Casey Pet Rescue, and that way they could get their vouchers for the spay and neuter and
vaccinations.
also their shots. Which is really important. Like, and so I want to show you if I can, let me see.
I remember you telling me that story, and it was just such a brilliant idea to encourage people
so do you hear?
As giving the, there we go.
Yeah, so this is what I made and was giving them away. Yes, instead of just dropping off the dogs. And that's what happens a lot here. People just drop off dogs, strays in the country. And I encourage those that are listening, please try and find a rescue or, find someone that could take your dog versus just dropping them off in the country, because these dogs really suffer. If you can see, here's where I'm feeding them. These dogs were starving. Now this is after they've been eating for a few days, because when they came up here on the land, they were bones. And Hannah was trying to break them. This is the mama here. And she was trying to wean them away from milking from her, but they were starving. And so this is where, that's Hannah again. That's feeding the puppies. And see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's before we found that 9th one. Okay. And so let's see. I'm trying to see. I'm hoping that I have pictures here from when we were. Aren't they adorable?
They are.
Now, if you could see, Hannah, Heifer was the only one that had mostly black in her like this.
Okay.
That's Heifer as a puppy.
Okay.
And this is the day that we found that we had 9, I think 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know if you can tell, that's 2 heads right there.
Yeah.
Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the day we found out we had 9. Okay.
Okay.
So these are them. Let me go back to my PowerPoint.
Okay.
What's happening here? Oh, that's them over across the street playing.
Okay.
That's Mama with all of her puppies except 1. We thought she had only 8, but there's a 9th one. But that's her with 8 of them. So, all right. So let me go back over to PowerPoint. So now to talk a little bit about my chickens and the ducklings. I'm really excited about the different color eggs that we're getting now. So I ask here, have you ever seen colored eggs besides on Easter? And different chickens have, depending on their breed, different chickens have different color eggs. And it's like us as a people, we all are the same on the inside. So when you crack open one of these eggs, you don't end up really having green eggs and ham. If it's a blue egg, a turquoise egg, a pink egg, it's still the exact same kind of color and everything on the inside. The same way we all are different shades of people, different nationalities, different races, but we all are the same on the inside. And that's what goes on as far as the eggs. We finally have a duckling coming. I wanted to show you one of our ducklings hatching. Oh, look. And as you can see, I mean, I was so excited. Duck eggs, and we were thinking that we wouldn't get anything, but oh my gosh, this is awesome. Our first duck coming out of the incubator. And what we did, ladies, is our one duck, which we call Gladys, we have Gladys, and our other 4 ducks, our other 3 ducks, I called them the Pips. So it was Gladys duck and the Pips. She would only have 1 egg. Of course, 1 egg a day, and we would get an average of 3-4 eggs a week from her. And that's why I've been trying to get more female ducks. And so, I didn't mean to do that. And so what I wanted to do is, let me see if I can get it where it comes on out. There we go. So it would struggle a little bit and then rest. then struggle and rest.
And it's already chirping.
And it was chirping inside the egg. And Harley is the one that let me know that it was getting ready to come out, because Harley heard it, our Cocker Spaniel, and he's standing up on his hind legs trying to watch to see what it was.
Okay.
So it was chirping inside the egg. And let's see if it, fast forward a little bit more.
How long did it take to come out?
Let's see, this video, oh, I got the head out. I think it, after it cracked, I think it took it about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Our first duckling.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Look at our first duckling.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So
let me just say to people who are joining us late that Sherita is showing us her Barnyard crew on Oglesby Acres, which is where we're going to be hosting our first YVI summer camp this year. And so I just wanted to let people know that. Keep going.
Great, thank you. Thank you. So now, let me pause this for a moment. Our green eggs and our pink eggs come from these. These are, they're called green egg layers. And as you, and they will grow up, they grow up to be beautiful chickens. And they look a lot like our others, but there's just different breeds of chickens. And so these are them as little ones. And they will lay green eggs and not green eggs and ham. I forget. But we got them on, and that's Gentleman Jack crowing in the background. He was our only rooster crowing at that time. They're about 7 days old, 7 or 10 days old. And when they're first born, they have more, it almost looks like felt on them. And then after about 2 weeks, they start getting their feathers. And it amazes me how quickly the birds change. Okay, so now, so that I don't hold you guys a long time, I want to talk about something else and relate it to my barnyard. So, but as schools and communities are speaking on the subject of race and learning to understand and appreciate our differences, our barnyard crew can be helpful in showing unity. And so, and these are some stories, These are some stories that I'm going to be using for the books that I'm developing for the Barnyard crew and their antics. So you'll meet Joy right here, and let me show you what she does, because she thinks she's the supervisor. So now here Joy is with another kitty. Again, people drop off cats also. This was a third cat that we had on our acreage, and I loved Stripes. Stripes was the only male, and at the same time, and he loved Harley. And I really think that Stripes followed Harley, because Harley would also go through the woods and everything, and I think that's how he was taken by one of the deer hunter that was visiting up here and hunting. And Stripes never came back. After Harley was gone, we never had Stripes anymore. And so just wanted to introduce you to Stripes and my girl Joy.
Mhm.
Next, here's another that I'm excited about. Let's see. Little duckling is following. I think this is mommy. I don't know where the second one went. I'm hoping that nothing happened to it. Now, I wanted to show you this because, again, this duckling, which I named Sweetie, thinks that chicken is his mother. And so I'm showing what I'm talking about here is how it doesn't matter our differences. You know, there are even children that are adopted and think that will their mother love them, or they're receiving just as much love from that adopted parent that they would have received from the parent that actually birthed them. And so that's why our stories are relating to real life situations that happen with children. And again, to show you how even animals, they make exceptions. They don't care what someone looks like or acts like. And so she literally, when Gladys Duck had the egg, she's actually the one that sat on the egg. And this is Lady Beth. She's the one that sat on the egg and hatched who you see here, which is Sweetie. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm
Wow.
showing you here, that's on the left is our Stripes, the cat that we no longer have with Heffa. And then on the right is our white rooster, and he's a silkie. That's why they're called silkies, and he looks like he has fur on actually. And that's Hannah laying next to him. And they literally would fight over being in the barn I was in the winter time, I'd lay down pillows and straw, and they would actually try and force one off of the pillow so they could take the pillows. Okay. This is Heffa with Gladys Duck and two of the Pips. And again, if they couldn't force one off the pillows, they would just lay down with them. Excuse me. And that's why I asked, have you ever seen dogs, cats, and chickens even lay together? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last picture here is where Hannah is actually taking a walk with our guinea. And now a lot of people have never seen guinea. Guinea, they look like a cross between a turkey and a chicken.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why we got guinea is here in the country, especially here in Arkansas, we may have a major problem with ticks. Well, one guinea can eat from 2,000 to 4,000 ticks a day. And so we wanted to have a flock of guineas so that when people come here on Oglesby Acres, they're not overtaken by ticks. But here
Wow.
you can see is where Hannah is taking a walk with our guinea. And so now my last question that I'm going to ask here is, are you a leader? And like with the Barnyard crew, being a good leader is more than being in front of the line, or being the one that you feel like you're bossing everyone. It's more than that. They follow, as far as people that may follow you because you're a leader, they follow because, like with my chickens, I've been consistent in feeding and taking care of them. I even constantly communicate with them. And so my chickens and my animals interact with me the way they do because of my consistency. And they see me as they see me as their leader, and they follow me because I own them and take care of them. But if I wasn't consistent with them, then they would not show the love and affection that they do to me. So I just want to show you an example of that. Why isn't it not playing? Let's see. And this is what you would see if we could be outside, but it's freezing right now and they're talking about sleet. So I wanted to try and give you the experience anyway.
Mm-hmm. So they're all following you, and all the different kinds of birds are following at the same time.
Mm-hmm. They all even sleep in that coop together that you see right there. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people even that live around here, they say that they can't even get their chickens to go in the coop, or their roosters don't get along with the guinea. Most of the people around here can't even let their dogs and chickens out at the same time because their dogs will eat their chickens. Mm-hmm. So it's about training and working with your animals for them to live cohesively together. Now, the rooster that you see that thinks he's a parrot up on my arm, I call him the Lone Ranger. He doesn't have chickens that follow him. He kind of hangs by himself. Crazy at dinner time. And that's why he took on that name, the Lone Ranger.
Okay.
But again, ladies, and for those that will be listening, this is the life that is feeding my soul. This is, I sometimes tease saying that I am Oprah Winfrey happy. And what do I mean by that? Well, people always talk about Oprah and how big she is and how much money she has. And I want money like Oprah. Well, I feel that way about happiness. And I didn't even know I could dream this. And so I just wanted to share it with you. And thank you so, so much for allowing me to open your eyes up to a little bit of what goes on here on Oglesby Acres. So are there any questions?
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Sherita. We have Thurman Ellison on the call. Thurman, you want to come off mute and say hi and ask
Hello.
if you have, how you doing?
Good.
Are you still in
Hi,
Switzerland?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still in Switzerland.
Okay. So do you have any
Wow.
questions for Sherita?
And not really.
Okay. Have you ever been on a farm?
Thank you.
Yes.
Did it
And
look
what
like
kind
what
of
she
animal?
showed?
Wait, what did you say?
I said, what kind of animals were you around on the farm?
Well, cows, chicken, a horse.
Yeah.
I did see a possum.
A possum? Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully we can have you come here next summer with the camp all the way from Switzerland. Thank you for being on. What time is it there?
It's almost 6 o'clock here.
Ah, okay. PM.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for being on.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you very much.
presentation.
And I was going to ask, Thurman, do you ride horses?
You used to.
I used to, but then
Yeah.
stopped because I started moving places.
Yeah, when we lived in Houston, he took riding classes and then we moved and we haven't had time to go back to it.
Oh, okay. We are preparing to, we're getting ready to put up fencing now. We're starting out with 2 horses and we already have 2 goats. And matter of fact, our goats' names are Serena and Simone, because Serena Williams and Simone Biles, they are the goats of female athletes, you know, the greatest of all time. So we named our goats Serena and Simone.
Wow.
How cute.
Yeah.
I really hope
Well-
you'll be able to come to Arkansas in this summer, Thurman.
Yeah, hopefully so. We do plan to get back to the US, but haven't nailed down the dates yet.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good, good, good. You know, the other thing about being here that I'm really excited about, do you know that there are youth even here in Arkansas that never leave within a 5-mile radius of where they live? You know, most people stay within the areas of where they live. They shop, they go to school there. They seldom leave that environment. So even though we're just 30 minutes outside of like Conway, Arkansas, there's a lot of youth that never experience what we're offering here on Oglesby Acres. So we've even had people that drive by, like we had a couple to drive by and they had their grandkids and they just decided to take a ride in the country. Well, they saw me outside and I was messing around with the chickens and doing something over at the coop and they stopped. And her grandkids didn't want to leave. And she was surprised because she thought that especially her granddaughter would have been afraid of chickens. And they started collecting some of the feathers that are here on the land. But also, I'm excited that the grandmother actually she loves painting rocks. So she collected a lot of the rocks that were here and she painted faces on them and things like that, and for yard decoration. Well, in addition to what we have here with the animals, I'm an artist myself, and we're going to be offering painting classes. And because when we had our art gallery in Conway, we did painting classes and sip and paint, which is where people come, there might be a date, and they can drink wine and paint their own masterpiece. So we have a few things that are going on here in Oglesby Acres, and I'm really excited about it.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Anything?
Danielle, do you have any questions?
I am speechless. I had so much fun looking at the animals. It reminded me of so many cartoons. The Barnyard, Backyardigans. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to visit.
I know.
Good,
I
good.
know. We're
I
looking
can't wait
forward
for
to
you to come.
welcome some of your kids, some of your students to come.
That would be a dream
Yeah.
for so many students in the Bronx.
Oh, I would love it. I would love it.
It'll work on
Yeah.
it.
All right.
Well, I will keep you posted. Monique, you and I, through our meeting, I'll update you on where we are as far as preparing for camp. But I look forward to welcoming the YVI community here.
I know, and I'm looking forward to meeting the YVI community there too. And it'll be my first time at Oglesby Acres as well. So I'm just super, super, super excited.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just to expose the kids to the animals and just to talk about all the things that people can do as a professional when you love animals, including veterinary medicine, which is what YVI is named after, but there's all kinds of things as well. So we're going to explore all of it.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe when spring comes, we can do this again and I can be outside so that they can experience it live like that, like was planned. So
Okay, fantastic. Well, Thurman, if you don't have any questions, we're going to wrap up. These sessions are getting longer and longer because we're just getting more and more, we're more and more excited, and yeah, it's just phenomenal. We had a fantastic first 6 months. We launched YVI in June of last year, and this will be our 16th episode, our first episode of 2022, and we are, as we say, as I like to say, old folks say, we're cooking with gas.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, we'll say bye now.
Bye.
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 Bye.